Hello friends, Gina Candelario here with Cooper Sotheby's International Realty. Today we are talking about one of the most successful franchises in professional sports and arguably the organization that helped put San Antonio on the world stage, the San Antonio Spurs. The Spurs weren't born in San Antonio. The franchise began in 1967 as the Dallas Chaparrals in the American Basketball Association, or ABA. By the early 1970s, the team was struggling financially, and that's why a group of San Antonio businessmen stepped in, led by stockbroker Angelo Drossos and auto dealer Red McCombs and John Schaefer. They arranged to bring the team to San Antonio in 1973. The team was renamed the Spurs, a nod to Texas and the cowboy heritage of the region. The move changed the future of San Antonio. Angelo Drossos became the majority owner and team president. His influence extended far beyond San Antonio. Drossos was one of the key architects behind the ABA-NBA merger and helped shape innovations that became staples of modern basketball, including support for the three-point shot and the player salary cap. The Spurs quickly became one of the ABA's strongest franchises. In 1974, they acquired a young star named George Gervin, known forever as the Iceman. Gervin's smooth scoring style made him one of the league's biggest attractions. He won 4 NBA scoring titles and became the first true superstar in Spurs history. Today, his number 44 hangs in the rafters. In 1976, the ABA merged with the NBA, and the Spurs were one of only 4 ABA teams admitted into the NBA. That move secured the future of professional basketball in San Antonio. By the late 1980s, attendance was declining and questions surrounded the team's future. That's when Red McCombs stepped back into the picture. In 1988, he purchased controlling interests in the franchise for approximately $47 million and pledged to keep the Spurs in San Antonio. Many people credit McCombs with modernizing the organization and strengthening its connection to the community. 1 year earlier, the Spurs had selected a future Hall of Famer with the first overall pick in 1987 NBA draft, David Robinson. Known as the Admiral, Robinson was a graduate of the U.S. Naval Academy and quickly became one of the most dominant centers in basketball. He won Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, and MVP award, and led the Spurs to consistent success throughout the 1990s. His number 50 is retired by the franchise. In 1993, Red McCombs sold the Spurs to a local investment group determined to keep the team in San Antonio. Peter Holt joined that ownership group and eventually became the face of Spurs ownership. Under the Holt family, the franchise would enter its greatest era, and then came the turning point. The injury-plagued 1996-97 season left the Spurs with one of the league's worst records. It felt disastrous at that time, but it led to one of the most important draft selections in the NBA history. With the first pick in the 1997 NBA draft, the Spurs selected Tim Duncan out of Wake Forest. Duncan transformed the franchise. Quiet, disciplined, and incredibly effective, he became the foundation of what many consider the greatest sustained run of excellence in modern professional sports. Duncan would spend his entire 19-year career with the Spurs, winning 5 NBA championships and 2 MVP awards. His number 21 is retired, and he is widely regarded as the greatest power forward in NBA history. Of course, Duncan wasn't alone. The Spurs assembled what became known as the Big Three: Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Manu Ginóbili. Tony Parker, drafted in 2001 from France, became one of the NBA's best point guards and the first European-born Finals MVP. His number 9 is retired. Manu Ginóbili arrived from Argentina and brought creativity, toughness, and an unselfish style that fit perfectly with the Spurs culture. His number 20 is retired. Standing on the sidelines through most of this dynasty was another legendary figure, Gregg Popovich, originally hired as an assistant under Larry Brown. Popovich became head coach in 1996. He built a culture centered on accountability, teamwork, and player development. In over 3 decades, he became the winningest coach in NBA history and led the Spurs to 5 NBA championships. Those championships seasons came in 1999, 2003, 2005, 2007, and 2014. The 2014 championship team is often considered one of the finest examples of team basketball ever played. Their ball movement and unselfish play became a model studied throughout the sport. The Spurs also set some remarkable records. Between 1998 and 2019, they made the playoffs 22 consecutive seasons. During the Duncan-Popovich era, San Antonio became synonymous with consistency, winning 50 or more games in season after season. Their culture became known simply as the Spurs Way. The franchise has retired the numbers of many of its greatest figures, including George Gervin, David Robinson, Sean Elliott, Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Manu Ginóbili, Avery Johnson, Johnny Moore, James Silas, and Bruce Bowen. Gregg Popovich was also honored with a special Pop 1390 banner recognizing his record-setting coaching victories. Today, a new chapter is being written. In 2023, the Spurs won the NBA draft lottery and selected Victor Wembanyama, the highly anticipated French phenomenon widely viewed as one of the most talented prospects in basketball history. For Spurs fans, it felt familiar, a transformational player arriving just when the franchise needed one. From a struggling ABA team in Dallas to 5 NBA championships and a global reputation for excellence, the Spurs story is really a San Antonio story. It is the story of Angelo Drossos and Red McCombs bringing professional basketball to the city. It is the story of Peter Holt helping build a championship organization. It is the story of George Gervin, David Robinson, Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Manu Ginóbili, and Gregg Popovich. And perhaps most importantly, it is the story of a city that embraced a basketball team and made it part of its identity. Because in San Antonio, the Spurs are more than a franchise, they're family. If you enjoyed this look at Spurs history, be sure to like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments, who's your favorite Spur of all time? George Gervin, David Robinson, Tim Duncan, Manu, Tony? Or are you all in on our Victor Wembanyama? I'd love to hear your answer. Go Spurs, go!